Today we're going to start the dough for a Japanese milk bread, which is a super versatile dough. It's just such a sweet dough. It has milk and sugar and eggs and butter, which are all of the things that you can use to enrich a bread to make it soft and pliable and delicious. So this week we're going to make a loaf of Japanese milk bread, and then next week we're going to take the same dough and we're going to make it into a flour girl invention, which is called the Creme Brûlée Bombs. So we're going to start with the dough, which is actually kind of like a roux. If you've ever made a roux for a gravy or a sauce, that's essentially what we're doing, except to make the Japanese milk bread, it's called a tasang. So in the base of a medium-sized saucepan, we're going to add 86 grams of water, and then we're going to add 86 grams of milk. We're going to add only 28 grams of flour. Then we're going to whisk this all together. And then we're going to bring this over our burner to cook down. So over a medium heat, we're going to slowly cook down the tasang so that it forms a thick paste. You do not want to walk away from this. As soon as it starts to bubble, it's going to thicken up. And you definitely do not want to burn it at all, because then you will have to start over. Okay, so right off of the stove, we're going to take this tasang that we just cooked down. We're going to scoop it right into the bowl of the mixer. So that's still going to be very, very hot. To cool it down so that it doesn't kill our yeast, we're going to pour cold milk directly on top of it. All right, so once we have the milk and the tasang in the bowl, we're going to add all of the rest of our ingredients all at the same time. So we're going to add 600 grams of flour, and this is just a regular King Arthur all-purpose flour. And then we're also going to add dry milk, and this just gives it a really nice depth of flavor. King Arthur makes a great dry milk. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of yeast. We're going to add about 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 whole eggs, and then we're going to add 100 grams of white sugar. Last but not least, we're going to mix in our melted butter. You want to make sure that you're on the opposite side from the eggs so that you don't accidentally cook your eggs. And then we're going to pop it into our mixer. This is a dough hook. We like to use our dough hooks with any kind of dough where you're looking to develop the gluten. You want a stretchy dough. This is chewy bread. We want that toothy pull on it when you eat it, so we're going to use a dough hook. After about 3 or 4 minutes on a fairly high speed, you can see that this dough is starting to come together. It's very sticky and stretchy, and that's what we're looking for. We're going to transfer this into a greased bowl so that it can rise. Pretty stereotypical of any kind of bread. We're looking for this to rise till it's about doubled in size, which should take about an hour. Okay, after we have let the Japanese milk bread rise for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, it's gonna have doubled in size, and you're gonna get this nice pillowy bread here. And so we're gonna go ahead and pull this right out of the bowl. And so now we have this really nice, smooth, pliable dough. So we're going to divide this into 6 equal pieces because we're going to do a 6-stranded braid for this bread. A 6-stranded braid is something that people think is super duper complicated, and it's actually really not. It's just a pattern. So the key is to make sure that all of the pieces are the same length. They want to be roughly the same width, but if they're not exactly the same width, that's okay. All right, so now we have our 6 strands, and we're going to fuse the top of them together. So we're going to start from the right, and the pattern is over 2, under 1, over 2. So starting right at the top, we're going over 2, under 1, over 2, over 2, under 1, over 2. And you just keep doing that same exact pattern the entire time until you reach the end of the loaf, at which point we're going to pinch the end together and seal it. We're going to kind of tuck it under here, pinch it together so that it doesn't separate. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And you've got this really pretty braided loaf of Japanese milk bread. We're going to add this. I've got this cute little disposable loaf pan here so that we don't even have to take it out to be able to like give it as a gift, but of course you can take it out. So once we've tucked our 6-stranded loaf into its pan, we're just going to take a little bit of egg wash, which is just eggs mixed with water, and lightly brush over, being careful to make sure that you catch each strand of those braids. Because what's going to happen is when minutes in the oven, the braids are gonna puff up, and the parts that are touched with the egg wash are gonna darken. So if you make sure that all of your braided pieces are egg washed, the pieces that have not been hit by the egg wash are gonna pop out from underneath, and that's what gives you the contrast on the braided bread, which is what people are known as so beautiful. So we're gonna set this to rise for about 25 or 30 minutes before putting it in the oven. Look at how beautiful that's puffed up. And then it's gonna go right into the oven and bake off into this beautiful fragrant loaf. Oh, that's beautiful.
Are you making more milk bread tomorrow? Or did I already ask you that question?
You did, and I said I wasn't sure, but I see now that I am.
Glad you see it that way. Excellent. That's the flour. So that's your job.
Okay,
Spot.